Deku could see a vestige of Mineta and Tsu escaping from the water zone during the USJ incident. Meanwhile, he was racing toward Shigaraki's new form for yet another hit. According to Horikoshi's author comment this week, the official name for Deku's current state is Overlay. But like a ton of you guys, he likes to think of it as Carnage, so we'll go with that. To be fair, Deku is probably just as insane as the famous symbiote host, but in a heroic way. The first user, Yoichi, thought to himself alongside the other One-for-All vestiges. He was sure that Shigaraki and Deku's memories were blending together. He wondered if this was a result of One-for-All resonating with All for One, the same phenomenon that allowed the late Demon Lord to briefly see his brother and the others. By transferring Kudo's power, they've made it to a very critical point. The first knew that his brother longed for a strong heart that would be able to steal One-for-All. But despite his overwhelming strength, it was a futile effort. Their mission continues to be the defeat of the ultimate villain, forged by negativity. They all press forward to fulfill their purpose. This is the very reason why One-for-All has persisted for generations. Deku's fists move with their collective essences. So instead of doing things one by one, Deku is really trying to give up all of the extra quirks in one go. Not even Black Whip is staying. The early perspectives of Deku and Shigaraki blended together into quite a cerebral display. Deku was still in hot pursuit while preparing this all-important punch. In the midst of their final battle, these two titans saw flashes of their very first encounter from foreign perspectives. Deku bellowed out the villain's name while in his overlay form. Shigaraki's danger sense flared as he returned the favor while surrounding himself with even more oversized hands. Deku landed yet another major punch to the Demon King. In return, he suffered a slash across the torso. And although it's not nearly as severe, Deku could end up with a scar matching All Might's after this. However, the expressions provided by the various vestiges were those of failure, the exception being the sixth user, N. The many powers of One-for-All followed Kudo's lead and moved towards Shigaraki's mental core. But aside from N's power, they were all repelled by a protective mass. Fortunately for Deku, the quirks returned to sender instead of being lost. But as he was launched away, Deku understood that the transfer had been rejected. Even so, it was clear that Shigaraki still suffered damage from the attack. Banjo spoke to a recoiling Deku. He began rationalizing the unexpected rejection. Shigaraki's will is strong enough to steal them, so it's strong enough to resist them too. But even so, N made it through and dealt some damage. Smokescreen is gone. Hearing this silver lining, Deku recognized that Shigaraki can't completely shut them out. Being able to target Shigaraki's massive finger formations would be great. But in both cases, Deku needed to punch through them to have any effect. They were more or less treated as nails, so he couldn't transfer the power that way. But then, finally, after nearly 4 years of waiting and mentioning it on this channel, we finally receive acknowledgement of a scene that I have always believed to be all too important. Deku and Shigaraki continued their backwards movement as a deeper vestige of the villain's memory took form in the background. Deku looked over at the imagery for just a moment, but that moment was all I needed. I am so glad I mentioned it in the last video, because between a bunch of new people tuning in and the fact that this all comes from a single pretty forgettable panel that wasn't in the anime, I wonder if you guys would have even believed me otherwise. What we are looking at is Shigaraki's first encounter, his very first encounter with All for One. This takes place before Shigaraki killed his whole family. We know this because Tenko's hair is black instead of the white color it became by the time All for One formally took him in. And seeing the direct contact between the two, I might as well be Horikoshi when I tell you with confidence that this is the moment All for One transferred the incredibly volatile quirk of decay to a quirkless child named Tenko. Horikoshi is totally going for a I could have been you angle between Shigaraki and Deku. Deku knew he was getting closer to reaching that crying child. He gritted his teeth while telling himself that he cannot stop trying no matter how much it takes. Shigaraki's finger cluster desperately continued to grow while Overlay Deku continued to float in front of him. Observing the battle was a somewhat familiar bit of spherical tech. It had the best seat in the house for this climactic battle in front of Mount Fuji. Although, since it can't record the vestige visuals, I'm sure a lot of context will be lost on whoever sees the footage. Apparently, the Flying Fortress satellite communications were being taken over by someone in another country. No matter the situation, apparently UA will always have its haters. although I'm not really sure who would be responsible for something like that. And this school year aside, since when do people hate UA? Maybe one of All For One's overseas connections is responsible, or it's an early Easter egg for the next movie. Regardless, Hatsume Mei explained that she created the flying device back when she was making gloves for Deku, but she has been able to upgrade it after a rough landing. Outside, Cementos was helping people leave the floating structure. Gentle Not Criminal wanted to help and was told to handle the injured. Because Deku is still her client, Mei wants to keep a close eye on him to provide even better service. This is strictly business, of course. Labrava sees Deku as the boy who got her boyfriend arrested, but she's not mad about it since it made Gentle a better person. From there, it was finally time for the total collapse of the Flying Fortress. And if My Hero Academia video games are any good, this would be a pretty cool location to fight on. Labrava planned to keep cheering Deku on until the very end. The kid from the marketing department with the Marge Simpson cut was surprised to see that the livestream of the battle had resumed, but he could not believe what he was seeing. After that, we make our way to the evacuation shelter. A ton of people were gathered and could see the endless amalgam of hands that now surround Shigaraki. Just wait until they notice the scary-looking hero that is here to save them all. Just then, Ectoplasm called out for someone to stop. And it is none other than Eri, the Deus Ex Machina of My Hero Academia. The Dragon Balls personified is finally on the move. The ultimate cheat code power that can totally turn the tide of any situation. We have all been waiting ages for her to do something, and it looks like that time is finally approaching. With that being said, I don't imagine she'll be going to help Deku directly. That fight is just way too dangerous. But what she can do is help his friends. We can see that Eri's horn, albeit not at its maximum growth point, should be good for something. Restoring Mirio's quirk drained a lot of her power due to how much needed to be rewound on account of time passage. But I'm pretty sure that all of these fights have taken place within the span of 1 hour. So it shouldn't take too much to get them back in this thing. These days, I see a bunch of you guys wondering how much longer this story will go on for and begging for this final battle to finally conclude. Well, let me be the one to tell you that we still have quite a bit left here. We still have to find out what happened with Eraserhead and Kurogiri. I'm guessing they'll end up with their own equivalent of the whole Kakashi talking to Obito bit from Naruto. Then there's Oyama and the mysterious growth of his power. And based on previous art teasers, some sort of involvement with Uraraka and Deku towards the end. In my mind, rewinding Bakugo would be a pretty solid choice since he is the second strongest hero in the series at this point, but I'm not entirely sure how that would work. Eri doesn't just heal, she reverts the body to a previous state. Bakugo's body went through a lot to reach its current power, so you could argue that there should be a complication there. However, we know for a fact that Rewind doesn't revert memories or anything like that. Quirks are deeply connected to the psyche and mind, so in theory, Bakugo should be good on that front. But I'd love to know what you guys expect this baby unicorn to use her magic powers on in the comments. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.